What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Inside the Vinyl. I'm your host, Tim Bianconi. If you would, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel below. That would be greatly appreciated. If you could also hit that notification bell so you could be notified anytime we put out new content, that would be appreciated also. So once again, I'm going to go back into my Lost Classic series and talk about a band who is absolutely legendary, not only in the metal world, they're one of the most legendary thrash metal bands and one of the most influential thrash metal bands of all time, and that would be the band Slayer. And this time, I want to discuss their 2006 album, Christ Illusion. So again, this was released in 2006, on August 8th, 2006. It was recorded between February and April of 2006. Produced by, just had the guy's name here a second ago, it was produced by Josh Abraham, and came out on American Recordings, which is where they spent the vast majority of their career. On the Billboard charts, it charted as high as number 5, making it their highest charting album at the time until their Relentless album came out in 2015. It also charted as high as number 2 in Finland and Germany. So it was a pretty big album worldwide. No gold or platinum certifications for this album, but it has been estimated at right about 175,000 in sales, which is, kind of low depending on your perspective. And that's why I wanted to feature it on my Lost Classic series here, because I honestly think this is by far the best Slayer album, and that's saying a lot because there are some amazing Slayer albums, and I'm sure some asshole is going to get on here and comment and tell me how great Rain in Blood and Seasons in the Abyss and South of Heaven and everything else is, and they're not wrong. I just think this album is just absolutely magnificent. It is my favorite Slayer album. So let's go ahead and take a look. So here's the cover with the what did they call this on here? Let's see, the Mutilated Christ painting by a guy named Larry Carroll. So there that is. And then on the back, looks like a dark picture of the band with the track listing at the top. All right, so let's go ahead and open it up. Now, I did find this some years after, it was probably somewhere in the last 4 or 5 years after I got into vinyl again. I found it at a used record store. I paid about $30 for it. But I really wanted this album because, like I said, this is one of my favorites. So there's just random inner sleeve here. So, interesting. Okay. So here's the inner sleeve. Here's the main inner sleeve. That on one side has the lyrics to the album. And then on the other side has a picture of the band. Now, mind you, this is the first album to feature the 4 original members of the band. The first album to feature the 4 original members since 1990's Seasons in the Abyss. So this is the first time that Tom Araya, Kerry King, Jeff Hanneman, and Dave Lombardo had played together on an album, made an album together since 1990. So very cool, very cool. All right. So let's see if we can put all this back together and talk about this album for a minute. All right, maybe we'll have to come back to that. All right, we'll just put the cover up here for now. All right, so Slayer, Christ Illusion, 2006. Reviews for this album were favorable. From what I've read, it seems like a lot of people love it. A lot of people don't for some reason. I don't really understand why. That's just, to each their own. Again, like I said, this is the first album with the original members since 1990. Dude, this fucking album, I don't know how they managed to do this, and I've not really heard this on any other Slayer album. They're all heavy, but this album, the guitar sound on this album, to me, sounds like if you took somebody like ripping somebody's flesh apart and you slowed it down, to like almost a demonic sound. That's what the guitars on this album sound like. Just absolutely brutal. It starts right off with, the opener, Flesh Storm. Dude, it fucking absolutely kills. Skeleton Christ, which is the song probably more than anything other that I liken to like flesh being torn apart. That's just how the guitar sounds to me. Eyes of the Insane won them a Grammy. Catatonic, it's a nice sing-along song for a thrash song. At least it is for me. I like to just be in the car, like scream, Catatonic! Whatever. But like I said, this is my absolute favorite Slayer album, and that is not a diss to Rain in Blood, South of Heaven, Seasons in the Abyss, or anything else. I just happen to like this album more than any other Slayer album that I've ever heard. To be honest with you, at the point when this album came out, I hadn't listened to Slayer in a long time. And a buddy of mine actually let me borrow the CD, and I heard it, and my jaw was on the floor, just how good this album is to me. So, like I said, the flesh ripping guitars. I mean, the drums on this were amazing. I mean, there's just something about Dave Lombardo being in Slayer that's just different, than anything they did without him. So the original band did make one more album in 2009 called Royal Pain and Blood. To be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of that album. I mean, the title track is cool, but to me, one thing I love about Slayer albums is that most of them are all within like the 35 to 40 minute range, meaning they just come in there, they have 10 songs on the album, 10 songs totally kick your ass at about 3 to 4 minutes a piece, and then it's done. World Pain and Blood for me, just it was like an hour long or whatever, and it's just like, this is way too long for a Slayer album, and just to me, just not my favorite album. Jeff Hanneman passed away, I think it was in 2013. They replaced him with Gary Holt from Exodus, and then Dave Lombardo left again. And they did make one more album in 2015 called Relentless, that actually I think is better than Royal Pain and Blood, but not as good as Christ Illusion or any of their huge albums from the 80s and 90s. Is what it is. And then they broke up at the end of 2019. I did get to see them one more time at the Exit 111 Festival in Tennessee in 2019, and that was awesome. Amazing. So again, Christ Illusion, I know some people, like it, some people don't. In my opinion, once again, I know I've said it probably 10 times in this video, this is my favorite fucking Slayer album. Check it out. Total Lost Classic, an album I think every thrash metal fan and every Slayer fan should hear. Hopefully you love it as much as I do. That's all I've got this time. If you would, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also hit that notification bell. I've got some other things out there. I've got the rest of my Inside the Vinyl series where we discuss live albums as well as Lost Classics. And by Lost Classics, I mean albums that I don't think get enough attention that I think everybody should hear. Whatever. I've also got my Unboxing the Vinyl series where we open up box sets, new albums, reissues, etc., etc. Sometimes even open up CD box sets. It just depends on what's coming out. I've got some live coverage from some festivals, Welcome to Rockville, Exit 111, Kiss concerts, whatever. In fact, the Exit 111 footage I have on here has the final concert that Slayer ever played in Tennessee. So check that out. Awesome footage. They blew up everything. Fucking sound was amazing. It was great. And then last but not least, I've got some, if you're into disc golf, I've got some very mediocre disc golf videos starring some very mediocre players, myself included. So again, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.